Greetings everyone's IT2. So, Nevernight by Kristoff I finished today. This one I am really surprised by. I'm going to give it 4.8 stars out of 5. I mean, rounded up to 5 stars. But, I don't know. It was really awesome. I'm going to tell you a lot about it. I wasn't really super psyched about reading it while I was reading it because there's so many other books that I want to read right now that I kind of feel guilty reading this kind of off my YA shelf in my other room. But the cover really looks cool, and it kind of just really wanted to check out this Kristoff guy because he wrote Empire of the Vampire. Supposed to be really good too. I wanted to see what his writing was about, and I was pleasantly surprised. And then also, when I was reading, I got this for like $1 at Goodwill, I think. And then I got this bookmark that somebody had left in it. It's like got these seahorses on it. It was like $6 they paid for it on the back. So I got a pretty good deal on this. It's like 420 pages, I think, something like that, 425. This is another book like The Lies of Locke Lamore that is set in a kind of Italian fantasy setting, which is kind of surprising. There's a map in the front. See, I don't even know if you would call this YA. That's what I'm kind of wondering about. I would just call it like a regular fantasy novel. This is a pretty cool map. But the whole story, like this whole area here, down here, doesn't even have anything to do with it. I think they mentioned these, like one guy was from there, but like the City of God's Grave is like this tiny little island here that has nothing on it. That's where all the action takes place. And then over here, I think there's a city that, like, this girl is being trained into this elite assassins guild called the Red Church. Now, that's a cool name for an assassins guild. Really similar to the Skyrim assassins. They worship this goddess of the moon or something called the Night Mother. Or they call her the Maw. So this world, like there's these 3 suns, and I think there's a moon. So there's like 4 gods. So what they call the Trinity is the 3 sun gods, and then you got the Night Mother is the other god. Because this is the Nevernight means the nighttime on this planet is when it would be night if they didn't have 3 suns. So it's constant daylight all the time. But the latter part of the day they call Nevernight because it would be nighttime if they had like a normal sun system. Which, how do they know what a normal sun system is like? So they use different words and terminologies like sunset instead of sunset because there's like more than one. But yeah, it's really cool. The main character is a girl named Mia Corvair, and she's the daughter of a noble family that had really cruel shit happen to them. They got murdered. Her mother got put into this prison. She went crazy. And she ended up getting these powers that is similar to Shikamaru from Naruto. She can control her shadows. She can like use it to like root people in place. Eventually she gets strong enough. If it's like this planet, every 2.5 years, there's a thing called True Dark, where all the suns set at the same time, and you actually have darkness. And then she gets super strong, and she like went on a rampage, and she's like been suppressing this memory her whole life, where she like wrecked a bunch of people, killed a bunch of people and stuff. And she can like warp. She can go down into her shadow and come out of other people's shadows nearby and stuff like that. And it gets really kind of crazy. She starts out like really weak seeming, but then she goes to this school and she gets like super overpowered at the end, maybe a little bit too much. But here's the thing about the YA thing. There is like 3 sex scenes in it. One of them they're even 69 in. So I don't know if it's a teenage protagonist or a girl protagonist, and there's kind of like a romance arc to it. I guess you'd call it YA. I mean, I don't like romance books, but I like a little bit of romance in regular books, which is kind of what this is. But then you also have people that say like Joe Abercrombie is grimdark. What does that mean? because there's a guy in this story that everybody loves, Glocta, and he's like a torturer, and he does really torturous things like cutting people's fingers off and stuff. But that pales in comparison to like a lot of the like Game of Thrones is way more brutal and just vicious, cruel. Like Red Rising, there's a scene where the guy's girlfriend gets hung, and they're on Mars, so the gravity's kind of low, so she's not heavy enough to like snap her own neck, so that her loved ones have to like pull her down and break her own neck. That's fucked up. You don't see that kind of stuff in Joe Abercrombie. Joe Abercrombie's pretty pale in comparison to this kind of stuff. But then Nevernight is full of shit like that. I mean, it was like gory and brutal and just. There's a scene where she's got this thing called the songs class where they have to learn to dance to the sword fighting techniques and stuff, right? And she kind of like embarrasses the instructor. He's like this blind guy, and he gets mad. And he just takes her arm and just cuts her fucking arm off. And like, there's these people that are, one of them can control blood, but he hungers for blood. That's how you get a positive and you get a negative. And then his sister can sculpt flesh. She can make people like scars go away. She can heal them. She can change their face and everything. Give them big tits. That's how the character got her boobs. She came in flat chested and but she can't control her own flesh. So the more she uses it to help people, the uglier she gets and more twisted and malformed she gets. Pretty fucked up. And the guy that controls the blood, he can like warp people through this pool of blood. So you have to like sink into the blood, and you usually have to go naked because anything that's not organic material won't pass through it. So you got to come out and you got to like wash all the blood off of you, and then you can like go on your assassination missions and stuff. And Mia has this grave bone dagger, so since the dagger's made out of this bone, it's organic, so she can take it with her. And it's like super neat, but it's also like really fucked up. And there's like, I don't know if you would call this like the dark, what do you call it? There's like a trope between these kind of books. What was it called? Dark schools or whatever like that. Like a little bit like Harry Potter, but like evil. It's kind of like that. They have this contest. There's like, what, 24 or 32 of these people that are trying to be assassins, and only 4 of them are going to make it all the way. The other ones that survive can be like hands, so they're not full-fledged assassins. They can kind of like hang out and like do servant kind of stuff. So the one that wins like the sword fighting class I was talking about gets like this pin with like a dagger on it, I think it is, right? And the one that wins the class for like pickpocketing and stealing different objects from the teachers and stuff, it's like a different point system. Whoever gets the most points for that gets a little mouse pin. And then whoever wins there's this one contest where you have to poison yourself with this crazy deadly poison, and you have to like figure out a way to like counteract it and create an antidote for it. But if you're wrong, then you just die. And if you win that one, you get a spider pin. That's the one Mia actually won. And then what was the fucking other one? Oh, they train you to like use your sexual wiles to like get secrets, and whoever has the best secret wins like this Harlequin mask pin. So that's your 4 blades. But then at the end of it, so you're past your final test, even if you get one of the 4 things, you have to kill an innocent boy. They bring in just an innocent child, and you have to like cut his throat. And like the love story between Mia and this other guy, Trick, they vow to like kill the other one's person that they're trying to get revenge on if one of them doesn't make it. So that happens. That's pretty dope. That's a cool plot story thing. There's this scene where she has this girl, Jessica, that just like bullies her for no reason, even though they should be friends because her parents were kind of killed the same way hers was. And it's just like, I was watching Last of Us today, and they had like this. There's always these crazy bullies in TV shows. They're like way more that you would. I don't know if people are that big of bullies in real life, Like she's just jogging with her like Walkman headphones on, and she just comes up and just rips her fucking headphones off her head and just throws them on the ground. Like, who the fuck does that? That's so weird. Just grab somebody's shit and just rip them off. Like, I'll just fucking shoot them dead. You're fucking dead now. You did that to me? Fuck you. You're gonna die. But it's like, man, bullies. What else was I going to talk about? Oh, the other books that I consider kind of YA. Let me go back to this for a second. But I thought this was going to end up being like, it's like the Cinder series by, what is it? Marissa Meyer. Caraval, Stephanie Garber. Arc of a Scythe by Neil Schusterman. I thought it was going to be like one of these kind of things. Which I haven't read any of these, so I don't know if it is or not. But I see these like all in the same kind of bookshelves as I see the Nevernight series. I think God's Grave is the second book, and then I forgot what the other one was called. I definitely wanted to get the second book though. Yeah, the teachers. It's kind of weird. What happens is, yeah, she's got this love interest who dies. And then you got this girl that's like good friends with her. She gets murdered. And this other girl becomes good friends with her. She turns out to be like a traitor that's plotting to kill everybody. So then all the teachers were kind of assholes to her. And like they kicked her out because she wouldn't kill the kid at the end. So then she found out about the plot where she's going to like poison everybody and kill them. So she came back to save everybody. But like all the teachers were dicks to her, and like she didn't have any friends left. Really, everybody got killed. So like, why is she wanting to save all these people? I'm kind of wondering at the end, like, what's in it for her now? But then that crazy scene where she's just going around just wrecking everybody with her shadows that she gets super strong with, warping in and out. But then you gotta wonder like, who's really the bad guy in this? Because she's an assassin. She's got this darkness in her that it's kind of like a demon, and you've got these three sun gods that this priest had blessed, and you got a symbol of it, and that actually is so, it's like a vampire. It like makes her vomit and like freak out, and she can't do anything. So like if you've got the gods that are pissed off at you, then who's really the good guy? Maybe she's just evil, but I don't know. I mean, you see all the shit that the good guy people in the like their plate armor and their fiery swords and stuff are doing to people. Also, I almost forgot to mention, this book was weird because it has like these huge footnotes. Anytime a new concept appears, there's an asterisk and there's like a huge footnote explaining it. There's another one. There's just pages and pages. And there's also pages and pages of like italics, where it's a flashback from when she was a kid. I don't like reading pages and pages of italics, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But I was thinking, like, what if the Way of Kings, Stormlight Archive had footnotes? It would be ridiculous. But also, similar to the Nosferatu by Joe Hill, he really does a good job of like painting each character with just a little bit of paint to give him like just a little bit of a distinguishing characteristic. Because like there's this one kid named Hush that he was like a male prostitute, and they knocked all of his teeth out so he could suck dick. This book is fucked up, I'm telling you. But like, yeah, his name was Hush, and he was like super quiet and stuff. And there's another kid that would talk to his knife all the time. And then what was the other kid? He had something weird going on too. The teachers all had like their weird things too, and like, yeah, the characters are just like just interesting enough to be different from one another. The guy Trick, who was her love interest, he had these like really bad tattoos, and they wouldn't explain like why he had these bad tattoos until eventually he's like telling this story of like when he was a kid, his dad was like ashamed of him or something. They kicked him out, and like his culture is like a seafaring culture, so he went out and caught this crazy big shark or fish, wherever he brings it back to his village, and his dad was like embarrassed by him or something, and he like took the teeth from the fish that he cut off and was wearing as a necklace. And he just like started carving crazy tattoos into his face, because that's what you do when you become a man. You give him these tattoos, and he just like poured his ink in his scratches that he made, and like it was so fucked up. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna make a separate video because I want to talk about some other books that I'm interested in. But highly recommend J. Kristoff. Empire of Vampire is supposed to be really good too, but I was super surprised this was as good as it was. Yeah.